Welcome back to another edition of Arizona Wildcats Insiders Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Hutchison, and we are in the middle, the beginning, I should say, of Arizona football in its bye week. Arizona is coming off of an impressive 23-17 win over Kansas State. The Arizona Wildcats, were able to jump out to a 17-3 lead at the end of the first half. Couple plays fell Kansas State's way. Arizona was able to get a couple field goals, and they were able to hold off KSU by a 6-point victory and capture, if I could talk correctly, their third win of the season, marking their first 3-0 start as a program since the 2015 season. Very impressive job by Brent Brennan and his coaching staff coming into the year. I don't think anybody thought Arizona was going to start the year 3-0. I think they thought Hawaii was going to be a difficult game. Arizona won by 34 points, mind you. I think they thought Weber State, Arizona should roll. They did. They won by 45 points and tuned up some stuff. And then I think a lot of people had Kansas State winning. Had Kansas State probably winning soundly in Tucson, especially after last season where Arizona went 4-8. They played the same Kansas State Wildcat team and lost 31-7 with a second half collapse. But guess what? This isn't the same Arizona Wildcat team. This isn't the same coaching staff in terms of everything around it. And this isn't the same roster. You have toughness that wasn't there last year. You have speed at the receiver and skill position groups, which wasn't there last year. You have a lot of returners defensively that are healthy. They were not healthy last year. Drayden Stukes went down in that game, and stuff kind of started to snowpile from that point on. This is a different Arizona Wildcat team. Danny Gonzalez has done a great job as the defense coordinator. Arizona has allowed 2 offensive touchdowns this whole entire season. And to be honest, they've allowed 1. The other offensive touchdown that they gave up came after a blocked punt on a bobbled snap by Michael Salgado Medina that set up Kansas State for the touchdown. So in reality, Arizona's defense has only given up 7 points in terms of a touchdown once on that 75-yard run by Kansas State. That's it. The rest has come in situations where Arizona shot themselves in the foot and gave their opponent good field position and put the defense in a difficult situation. So they've done a great job there. Offensively, they're averaging 37 points per game. Last year, they ended averaging around 21.5 points per game. And if you take out the New Mexico game where they dropped 61 on the Lobos, they average well below 20. They average around 18. The offense is more sound. There's more fluidity to it. There's a rhythm. There's a method to the madness that you didn't see last season. Seth Dagey, new offense coordinator, has done a terrific job. Now, has it been perfect? No, the passing game needs to improve. They've had a few injuries there. And the holding on the offensive line and really the edge of the line, sometimes receivers as well, has killed the Wildcats in situations. It's taken touchdowns off the board and taken them out of good field position. So there's still stuff to correct offensively. There's still stuff to correct defensively as well. They haven't been perfect. They've been very good. Right now, Arizona's number 1 in the country in takeaways with 8. They're top 20 in sacks. They're top 10 in points per game, giving up around 8 per game, 6 per game. They've done a terrific job there. Things are trending in the right direction defensively. Things are trending in the right direction offensively. And you know what, guys? Let's talk about Friday night. They did it in the retro uniforms. I know that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but I want to talk about those retro uniforms because, man, it was nice seeing the red block A out there on the field again. It's the first time Arizona's worn that red block A since the 1980s, since 1988. Arizona switched over to its current logo that's been changed up a little bit, but its current logo since 1989. Have they worn different stuff? The cactus logo on the helmets last year? Yes. The cats? Yes. But that red classic block A hasn't been there. And when you look at Brent Brennan and this coaching staff, the thing that they talk about is the history of the program and how they want to get Arizona back to bowl contention, back to being known as a tough, gritty, plow through you type of football team. Danny Gonzalez talks about it all the time with the Desert Storm defense. Brennan talks about leaving a legacy and building upon a legacy, him being a Dick Tomey disciple. So history matters to this coaching staff, and building upon that history matters. So it was awesome to see the red blockade out. It's awesome to see what they've done in terms of outreach with alumni and everything. But with that red blockade out, we had to do it. We had to put together the list of the top 5 players of the 80s that wore that red blockade. So guys like Chris McAllister, Teddy Bruschi, and other legends, they didn't wear it. They didn't play in the 80s, so they're not on this list. So if you say, whoa, what about this guy? What about that guy? They had to play in the 80s. They had to wear that red blockade too. So without further ado, let's get started. Number 5, Max Zendejas. And you may say, wow, a kicker really making a top 5 list for a decades team? Yeah. Mad Max Zendejas got his nickname for a reason. Game-winning kicks against ASU. Twice. Never lost to the Sun Devils as well. Clutch performer. Had a long career. 77 made field goals in his U of A career. Long NFL career. Had ice water through his veins. The only big kick that I can think of that he ever missed was against Georgia in the Sun Bowl, where Arizona tied Georgia, finished that game tied for the Sun Bowl. So that's the only one that I could think of offhand right now. Other than that, you think of the most memorable kicks in U of A history, you think of Max Zendejas. You think of him hitting those clutch kicks, him having ice water in his veins. So he comes in at number 5, Mad Max Zendejas, the kicker, number 5 for Arizona to wear those red blockades. Number 4, one of the most underrated players in U of A history. He was not on our top 5 running back list, just outside. But when you look at the 80s and setting the tone for the program, setting the tone for the offense, and really being one of the first of his kind to be at Arizona as a smaller back that didn't give a shit, that was able to make big plays and make big plays in the passing game as well, is David Adams. Number 4 is David Adams, Sweet D, as his teammates lovingly call him. He was the first Arizona running back to lead the conference, to lead the Pac-10 in rushing with nearly 1,200 yards his senior season. He ended his career with over 2,500 plus yards, close to 3,000. Was able to get into the end zone a multitude of times, set the tone, had Vance Johnson with him. Vance played more receiver and slot back when David was there. David was the number 1 back, and really knew what it meant to make a team quit. He was one of those guys that wasn't afraid to toe the rock for his size, whatever number of times the team needed. So David Adams, U of A legend, underrated player in U of A history, comes in at number 4. Number 3, these next 3 players, 2 of them are in the College Football Hall of Fame, but all 3 of them are easily some of the greatest players in U of A history. Number 3, one of the most overlooked linebackers in U of A history, but easily the second best linebacker in U of A history, Byron Evans. Byron Evans came from Phoenix, never got offered by the Sun Devils. Went to Tucson, Arizona offered him, Larry Smith offered him, and he went running with that opportunity. Went down as one of the all-time leaders in tackles. Had a multitude of seasons where he was having 100-plus tackles. Was a absolute hard-nosed, hard-edge style football player that would pop a receiver or tight end over the middle of the field. Had a very good NFL career with the Eagles. That number 48 is one of the better linebackers in a U of A history. He helped set the tone for the defense, helped set the tone for the program, and was an absolute Sun Devil killer and hater of the Sun Devils. So for that, Byron Evans comes in at number 3. Number 2, College Football Hall of Famer, has one of the biggest plays in U of A football history, played alongside David Adams, played alongside other legends that are on this list as well. Safety and current U of A defensive analyst, Chuck Cecil. Chuck Cecil wore that red block A, had one of the biggest plays in U of A history, picking off ASU quarterback Jeff Van Rapphorst in the end zone and returning it 106 yards for the touchdown, helping upset the Sun Devils in that game, in the duel in the desert in Tucson, keeping the streak alive, never lost to ASU, and went down as one of the hardest hitting players in U of A football history, one of the hardest hitting players in college football history, and one of the hardest hitting players in NFL history. Chuck Cecil was a guy that was overlooked from Felix High School. Arizona took him on, and he had an amazing career out here in Tucson, helped Arizona get to the Aloha Bowl and win their first bowl game as a program. The first bowl game Arizona ever won was the Aloha Bowl over North Carolina. So for that, Chuck Cecil is on the list. And now number one, should be no surprise to anybody. Again, another defensive analyst and another guy that is on the staff right now, and arguably the greatest player in the history of this program, easily top two, Ricky Hundley. Ricky Hundley won Co-Defensive Player of the Year. He was the first player in U of A football history to do that in the Pac-10. He still might be the only player to win that. Well, no, Scooby Wright would win Defensive Player of the Year many years later. But when you talk about Arizona football and you think about who symbolizes the Wildcats and what they're all about, hard edge, tough-nosed defense, and hard-hitting attitude, it's Ricky Hundley. Ricky is easily the greatest linebacker in the history of this program, was a complete monster, was a top 10 draft pick, still the highest draft pick in U of A football history, tied with Tetairoa McMillan. And he went on to have an amazing career in the NFL, but really was the tone setter for the program and helped Larry Smith get the program back in the right direction after some down years with sanctions and all that prior to Larry Smith's arrival. Ricky Hundley was a big reason why Arizona was able to get back on the right track, had that streak against ASU, and lay the foundation what the program would later be. So for that, Ricky Hundley is number one. So we'll have Arizona football coverage this week, even though it is the bye week. Let us know what you think of the top 5 players of the 80s. Arizona will be trying to get healthy this week to prepare for Iowa State, add new wrinkles in its system, I'm sure, and the schemes offensively, defensively as well. And this is a big week recruiting for Arizona. The coaching staff will be out and about across the country looking at different recruits that they're still trying to land for not only the 2026 class, but the 2027 class as well. So please check out Arizona Wildcats on SI. Check out our Twitter account at Arizona Wildcats on SI, or me, Troy Hutchison, at THutch1995, and we'll see you next time.